Composting worms are very ferocious eaters, and as they eat, so they multiply. And for some worm farmers, they may find it a challenge as their worms multiply to keep up with food supplies. Some don't mind purchasing food for their worms. There are those, however, who like the idea of recycling, and so they will not purchase food for the worms. But what can you do if you find that your worms are multiplying and eating faster than your kitchen is producing food scraps? There are several options that you can use. For example, do you have neighbors and friends who do not compost, do not grow a garden? Or if they grow a garden but they don't compost, could you collect food scraps from them and then feed it to your worms? And in return, you can supply those neighbors with some of your worm castings. So that is one option. The other option is to go to a restaurant and see, or supermarket, and see if they're willing to share their food scraps with you. The next option, let's take a look at what it is. Do you have weeds growing in your yard? This is another option for feeding your worms. You may say, if you had these weeds to your worm bin, then you're going to have these seeds in your castings, and then when you apply it to your soil, you're going to have these weeds growing in your garden. So that is an area of concern. So what can you do if that is the case? Well, you can still use it for worm food. So you have two options for using weeds as worm food. One, if you do hot composting, then you can uproot these weeds and add it to your hot compost, and the heat is going to kill the seeds. Or two, you can, if you don't do hot composting, or if you don't want to compost the food scraps, you do what I do. Here I pulled out some of the weeds and I put it in a black plastic bag, and I try to keep it where the sun is going to be fully concentrated on the bag to make it heat up, and that heat that it produces is going to kill the seeds. Now I keep this in here as long as the temperature is hot enough. I keep this in here for 3 days or more, sometimes much longer. But doing this, putting it in the plastic bag, allowing it to heat up, allowing it to sweat and kill the seeds, then you are able to feed it to your worms, and you don't have to worry about these seeds growing in your garden. Also, if you have food that has gone bad in your kitchen, say for example flour, stuff like that, oats, then you can always ground it or feed it as is to your worms. So that is another option rather than tossing it. That can be food for your worms. So keep those options in mind as you find that your worm population is growing but food supply is not keeping up. Then those are your options. I just love this little gadget. It's very perfect for people who have stackable trays or single tray bins, because it just stirs the material so easily. I like that it has these little round balls, so there's no pointy section to damage the worms. It does not look as if it is strong, but I'm quite impressed with how strong it is when it comes to turning the material. I do not see it bending or anything of the sort. I was worried when I got it that maybe it would not be strong enough. This is called a worm comb, and man, I'm just loving it. They come in black and they come in pink. So if you are interested in getting this for your worm bin, then please click on the link below where you can source these worm combs. They even come in set of 2, so you can buy the single or you can buy sets of 2 and you get the option of choosing whether you want pink and black, or you want just black, or if you want the pink. So if you enjoy this video on how you can source food for your worms, then please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, a time for grow.